right, good morning, everybody. Listening to the folks I'm with here today just reminds me why what we're doing is so important. We've got to bring our infrastructure, we've got to bring our transportation into the 21st century, and we have to do it now. I'm surrounded by folks. We have a number of mayors. Luke, thank you for what you're doing here in Hartford and Waterbury and Ridgefield. Who else? London. Hey! New London. It reminds you how transportation brings our cities back to life. We make our cities back into the transportation hubs they were in years past. We make that around affordable housing. We allow people in and out. We grow our cities, and that allows the state of Connecticut to start growing jobs again. That's been a long time coming over the last generation, and that's why we're in the pickle that we are today. You've heard from Keith and the laborers. This is about jobs. This is about jobs. Thank you for the folks here in this room. We're meaning to keep you very busy doing something very important over the next generation, rebuilding our transportation system for the 21st century. That involves training, and that involves a recurring revenue stream that allows us to get this paid for over a period of time. I'll also tell you, when it comes to that recurring revenue stream, I had the opportunity to be down in Washington last week. I saw Vice President Pence. The one thing he said loud and clear is there will be an infrastructure bill that comes out of Washington, D.C. in this next cycle. And woe be it for Connecticut if we're not at the front of the line with design and a recurring source of revenue to make sure we take advantage of what that is to rebuild Connecticut for the 21st century. And you've heard from the business community. You've heard from Darrell. You'll hear from Jim Smith, who's testifying later. This is so key to economic growth and opportunity in this state. Again, over the last 30 years, we really haven't added any net new jobs. And shame on us. What that has cost us as a state, what that means in terms of revenues, what that means in terms of our budget, what that means in terms of opportunity, and that's going to change. You heard Darrell say how vital it is. Every single business that he's trying to get into this state from the real estate side, they ask about gridlock. They say, is this a state that's slowly getting its act together when it comes to transportation? Will our rails be going faster? Will we end the gridlock on our highways? Will our employees be able to get to work? Will our customers be able to visit? And the answer to that is yes. We're showing you that path here today. Jim Smith, same thing. He's been lending to companies all across the state. He was co-chairman of the Fiscal Commission that included most of our major business leaders across the state. And they said why it is so vital. If you're going to get this state going and growing again, you've got to get it moving again. And that's what we mean to do here today. Look, it's tough. I hate to say we got to pay our bills. And we haven't done that in this state. We've been putting everything on the credit card. We've been leaving it for yesterday. We've been saying if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Let's leave it for another time. No rush. Let's do it later. That's what's gotten us into the situation we are today. And it's our opportunity in this generation to take the lead right now. We've come forward with a plan that includes electronic tolling that's got a lot of support from the Democrats. I also was reading from Len Fasano. There's some interest perhaps from some type of tolling. I'm looking forward to working on a collaborative basis to come up with a real recurring revenue stream that doesn't add to our GO and bonded debt on that side, that allows us to plan for the 21st century. And we're not going to get there in the next 2 years or 4 years or even 6 years, but you're going to know where we're going. You know where the state's going to be looking like. You know how your employees are going to be able to get to work. We're going to take advantage of the amazing assets this state has, our geographic location, the gateway to New England, the gateway to New York and the metropolitan area. With Joe Giletti at the helm in transportation, we're going to be able to start speeding up those trains over the next few years. I've got to give people a sense of direction that this is where they want to be. This is where they want to start their business. This is where they want to grow their family. And it starts right here, right now, by getting our transportation system going. Thank you all for being here. I so appreciate it.
I guess so, sure.
You're
administration keeps pushing back at the Republican alternative, saying that that would rely on borrowing and the state would continue to incur significant interest costs. Under your plan, are you saying with toll revenue, Connecticut would be paying cash for transportation infrastructure, or you'd be saving interest
No.
by doing less?
Hey, Carlo, thanks for coming. Good to see you. No, just the opposite. I've heard some plans that say, look, let's just add to our bonding against on the general obligation bond. The exact wrong thing to do. That's why our fixed costs are going through the roof. That's why I've strongly said we got to go on a debt diet. And what we need to do for transportation is have a new revenue stream, and we would be able to borrow against that. We'd be able to put together public partnerships that would allow us to leverage that. We'd be able to leverage the money coming out of Washington, D.C., and if we're able to get, $800 million, $1 billion a year in ongoing revenue out of tolls, $400 million of which would be paid by out-of-staters, that allows us to hit the ground running by leveraging that several-fold and really make an enormous difference in terms of speeding up our rail and decongesting our highways.
The federal government has not had a plan in many years. What happens if they do not have it now and there is no federal money for you to do these?
Then we'll work on our public-private partnerships. We'll be able to leverage the revenues we're getting from the tolling, and we'll be able to hit the ground running. I'm not going to allow the dysfunction in Washington, D.C. to slow up what we got to do here in Connecticut right now.
I've been hearing some of the comments in the back from people who have said, well, why not just cut spending? Why not do that? Is that enough to pay for what we need?
Absolutely not. That's the type of a kick in the can. Look, Joe Giletti's going to be like a hawk when it comes to looking how we invest those dollars and give the taxpayers confidence that every dollar is going to improving our productivity and speeding up our transportation system. I've got to give you confidence that we're taking care of that. But there's no way we can put off the investments we've got to make to fix our transportation system. I hear it from business, I hear it from labor, I hear it from people far and wide. This is an investment that's long overdue.
Governor, we've been hearing a lot from our Fox 61 viewers asking, the minute that revenue numbers don't